Good afternoon, and welcome to Corn on the Call, the podcast home for your Normal Corn Belters. Thank you to Bloomington Normal Pizza Company for hosting this podcast at their location in Normal, Illinois.
On today's episode, we'll talk about the upcoming season for the Normal Corn Belters, as well as the Corn Belters players, what the Prospect League competition is shaping up to be, some fun team superlatives, and information on how you can get your tickets to upcoming Corn Belters games.
We are your hosts, Blake Borgart, Braden Fogerson, and Megan Ruger-Smith. Today we have a special guest, baseball analytics intern Matt Bowerman. Thanks, Matt, for joining us.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here and happy to dive into some more statistical analysis of some of these guys.
To get us started, let's get familiar with the Corn Belters roster. Today we're going to talk about a few key players that are going to be joining the Corn Belters this year.
So Matt's going to talk about pitchers as well as hitters, and he's going to start with pitchers just so we have an overview of what the Corn Belters starting rotation and best relief pitchers is going to look like.
Yeah, so I just want to start with Carson Bonaparte. He just graduated from U High. They just got bounced, actually, in their regional finals game. He did not pitch, but his teammate put up a very good performance. Bonaparte is committed to Notre Dame, and actually, a little bit of a weird fact about him, he was the number one ranked third baseman in the state of Illinois, and considered a top 20 prospect. He's going to be playing for us as a pitcher, and he's going to be attending Notre Dame and doing the same, but I would like to think he'd get a few at-bats here and there and a few, defensive substitutions during his games, and we'll get to see what he's got on the other side of the plate.
Something that I think is so cool about this team is that when you really break down the roster and look at the numbers, we have so many guys who are super high-ranked athletes coming out of high school and going into college, but we also have guys who really didn't go ranked all that high and they're still performing well. So it's just a really nice mesh of all of these different cultures and all these different experiences coming onto this team that's really going to make a really exciting and a really creative roster is what I'm looking forward to for this season.
Something that I like about the Corn Belters is we have a lot of players from around the area. We have a lot of guys from Normal, Bloomington, a lot of Central Illinois guys, but we also do have we have commits to Notre Dame, and we have people from Wisconsin, from Minnesota. We have people that are coming from far away to play here, and I think it's so cool that we have a lot of hometown kids, but we also have people from out of state coming in to play with us.
I mean, that's how you make a good team. You need to be able to have some people that are, local, homegrown talent, and they're going to be the ones that, you need a ride to wherever. They know where they're going. They know where to eat, stuff like that. But
Bloomington Normal Pizza Company.
Yeah, Blown Up
That's
Pizza
for
Co.
sure.
But, you also want to be able to have some guys from elsewhere that you can get to meet and know. And, when you face that college team later on down the road, you already know that guy because you played with him and you know how he plays. That gets you more of an idea of what to expect out of those players.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm 100% on the same page with you. I love Bonaparte, definitely. I think it's so cool that he's going to be a guy who's going into Notre Dame. We definitely don't have anyone from that neck of the woods on the team who's committed to go play up there yet. We do have some guys who are from around the Illinois area. One of those guys is Clayton Johnson. He was one of my favorite players who I was looking at when we were breaking down the roster. University of Illinois commit. I think it's his second season going into there. He's 6'8", guys. He is 6'8". He is going to be towering on that mound out there. His mom actually played a little bit of college volleyball, and so I haven't met Mr. and Mrs. Johnson yet, but I'm going to assume that that's where he gets some of the hype from. Really didn't see too much action in 2022, 3 total appearances and 3.5 total innings pitched, and I feel like that's where a lot of our guys are at right now, in all honesty, is we don't have too much experience on the roster, but this league is really going to be about getting them developed and getting them back ready to go into college where they will get some more experience.
So, my personal favorite pitcher throughout the whole team, and my pick to be the team's ace, Adam Wibbenmeyer, who just finished up his season at Southwestern Illinois College, sort of on the opposite end of that spectrum. I think he's top 2 in the team in innings pitched. He made his all-conference team, and he just looks elite. He's going to come in, he's going to strike guys out, he's not going to give up very many walks. He had 47 Ks and 8 walks throughout the whole season. Incredibly low ERA. I expect elite stuff out of Adam Wibbenmeyer. Another thing about Adam is it looks like he's got elite velo. He's got a video on Twitter of him pulling down 102. Ooh. So we're going to see some nasty stuff out of this guy.
So his velo is 102. That's his max. What would you say that compares to most pitchers that would be playing in the Prospect League?
So, he's going to be probably top 1% velo-wise. Now, pulling down isn't what he's going to be throwing off the mound, but that's just literally the hardest he could possibly throw. But I'm expecting 90s 100%. Mid-90s, maybe juice it up to high 90s.
And if you can work on control, that gets you in good spot too. You know,
Absolutely.
get break as well. If you get a pitcher that has some break on a velocity like that, I'm a Cardinal fan. I love a guy like Jordan Hicks, someone that gets a lot of break on those, pitches with high velocity. If you can get that, if you can get control, then you've really got a complete pitcher. So that's something to work on.
That's what I'm saying. He's really an elite control guy from the looks of things. Only 8 walks throughout his high 40s, maybe 50 innings pitched.
How many strikeouts does he have? He's pretty up there with the strikeouts as well, too. Yeah.
47, leading the team.
We talked about that a little bit in the pre-production, so I just thought it'd be a fun thing to bring up one more time. Now, moving a little bit from the pitchers towards the hitters, I think we have a little bit of an exciting hitting rotation. And there was definitely one guy that you wanted to talk about, Mr. Ben Higgins.
Yes, Ben Higgins. He really looks like the best guy on the team. He's a 5-tool player. He runs the bases well. He had 17 stolen bases in his freshman season at Carl Sandburg. He's recently transferred to Purdue Fort Wayne. He leads the team in home runs. He had 10 this year. And he had a OBP above 400. So he looks like a 3-hole guy to me. He's getting on base. He's smacking homers. He's doing everything you could possibly ask of him.
Now, from a power hitting perspective, how is the team looking this season from your research from the analytics perspective of things?
From a power hitting perspective, the team is okay. College homers-wise, you can't expect too much out of our guys. But, you got, aside from Ben Higgins, we got 11 homers throughout the whole team. Most of those guys will find themselves in the starting roster. You can expect to see some homers towards the top end of this lineup.
Yeah, definitely expect the raining tacos quite a bit in the team.
Definitely.
Come to the corn crib to hear raining tacos every time there's a home run.
That's what you come to the corn crib for,
Yeah.
just some raining tacos.
Exactly.
Welcome to Moe's. Yeah.
Perfect.
One of the guys that I was looking at really from more of a hitting perspective is Zachary Goodman. He's our D3 catcher from Webster University. And for those of you who don't know, Webster is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to baseball. 38-8 last season, falling just short of reaching the NCAA World Series as they were defeated by the College of Wooster. That's a fun name to say, Wooster, in the third game of their regional matchups. What I found about Goodman that is so impressive is that he really is a luxury when it comes to the hitting perspective of things. When you think of pitchers and catchers, you don't really think of their ability to hit the ball so much. And he was averaging 281, 278 throughout his 2 seasons when he was playing at Webster. And actually, I believe it was the first month of last season, he was above 300 for his bat, which is incredibly impressive to have for any sort of catcher. So that's just something I'm going to really look for as the season goes on, is I want to see if he can actually develop the offensive side of his game along with his defensive side of the ball.
A personal pick of mine to be one of the top guys towards our rotation, more of a 2-hole guy in my opinion, looking to be batted in by Ben Higgins, would be Jeff Chatterton from Bradley University.
Jackson Chatterton?
Jackson Chatterton. Sorry, my bad. He's a switch hitter, hitting from both sides of the plate with equal power from both sides. Switch hitting is very difficult. Some guys maybe get more contact as a lefty and hit for more power as a righty, but Chatterton's hit 3 as a righty and 3 as a lefty, so we're expecting equal things from both sides.
Yeah, Bradley also had a pretty good infield defense, if I remember correctly, from being able to watch those games. And, if you got a guy like that knows how to be a part of a team that works well defensively, he'll be a guy that you want to be able to lead your defense a lot.
Absolutely. I'm expecting him to slot in as our everyday starter at second base, which is what he's done for Bradley since his freshman year. He's actually the first freshman to start every single game at Bradley since at least 1980, because the records don't go back any further.
I know from watching Bradley games, I've done research on them. I am a proud Bradley student. Jackson Chatterton is a very stalwart player for the Braves. He really gives the team someone to rely on in moments where they need someone to come through. He is that person that when you are looking for a base hit, you are looking to start a rally, you look to Jackson Chatterton, and hopefully he can bring what he has done to the Braves to the Corn Belters in the Prospect League.
Do you think there's any sort of prototype of a type of MLB player you could compare him to, as far as, either him at second base or just any other player in general, the way that he plays for a team?
He has a lot of stability. I would kind of compare him to a younger Anthony Rizzo,
Okay.
where he's not going to mess up in his position, where Anthony Rizzo was a solid first baseman, and I think Jackson Chatterton has the consistency of a younger Anthony Rizzo with his hitting, where he might not hit a lot of homers, but he's going to get on base, he's going to advance guys, maybe take a few walks here and there, and especially as a switch hitter, he can produce from both sides of the plate, which is really a key for him.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm 100% on the same side there. And I keep on going through this spreadsheet that we've put together of all of the stats from the guys coming in. And I'm just super, super impressed with the ability to score runners. I mean, I see multiple guys who are in nearly 20 RBIs. Kyle Bartman, Ben Higgins, as you mentioned, and Jackson Chatterton, some of those guys that we were really talking about there. And I definitely expect for them to be at the top of the order. In regards to people who I want to see really come along and get some more at-bats at the plate, Xavier Watson, the second baseman and the shortstop, I believe he goes to he's the University of Illinois. One of those guys at the University of Illinois who really hasn't yet to really touch the plate and the mound all that much. Pardon me, the diamond, not the mound. If he was pitching, that'd be that'd be a bit of a problem. But I just see so many guys on this list that really haven't had that much practice going against collegiate pitchers, and I think that that's something that they really have the opportunity provided here to go against some higher level competition, and then they can go back and just keep on working on their craft as they mature and they grow.
Well, I think this Corn Belters team's run really well. This team won the Great River Division last year in the regular season, and being able to come into this season, they're kind of going to be expected to do about the same. People are expecting the Corn Belters to do well. You got a lot of new names, you got a lot of stats that you don't have enough of a sample size to really get an idea of, but you're really in a spot where we know this team and enough about this team to know that they are going to be expected to do well, and we have good leadership as far as the coaching staff as well to decide this is going to be a team that's going to be able to do well and compete.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. A lot of these guys seem like guys who are going to come in with a chip on their shoulder and just be hungry, get to work every single day, and have something to prove. And for a couple of guys to talk about off the mound, Bode Gabink, going to be one of our most important arms on this team. He just looks electric. He is one of our two lefties. Looks to be our only lefty starter, but he is a huge strikeout pitcher. I was scrolling through some game logs. He barely had any games under 6 Ks per game. He's had multiple games where he's given up 1 run and 10 Ks. He is electric. He is must-watch baseball. He can be a little volatile at times. With the strikeout stuff comes a little bit of home run given up, but I think he'll be elite for us. And one more guy I want to talk about real fast is Aaron Agee. He's just gotten warmed up, playing in the KCL. He's going to be moving up to the Corn Belters. But he's put in great work there, and I believe 2 relief appearances, and he's looked very good. So I'm excited to see more stuff out of Agee.
So I know we've talked a lot about the pitching staff here. Is that the thing that you're personally looking forward to most as we get closer towards the season starting on June 4th?
Absolutely. We have a lot of great relievers and some really elite starting pitching. That is where I think our money is going to be made. We got a lot of guys with chips on their shoulders in the lineup, but I just really think Corn Belters' money is going to be in the pitching.
Absolutely. So we're going to be expecting a great defensive performance on the mound, and we can expect an offensive performance that we should be expecting to see progressively get better as these guys face more and more competition as the season prolongs.
Maybe not so much in the home runs, but we're going to see a lot of guys on the base paths, a lot of stolen bases is what it looks like. We got a lot of, contact speed guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, contact's been good for the Corn Belters as well. Last year they had a team average in the 280s, so Corn Belters do a good job hitting for average as opposed to trying to swing for the fences.
Why don't we talk about around the league competition, because we've spent a lot of time on our own players, but maybe we should look at some other teams our Corn Belters will be facing in the upcoming weeks.
Well, I'd like to start by talking about the Great River Division that I mentioned the Corn Belters are in. Last year, the Corn Belters finished at 31-29, which is just above 500, but they were able to win the division, like I said. That division was easily the most competitive. No one was even close as far as competitive. I mean, you had a separation of 3.5 games from first to last in that division. It doesn't always work that it's always the same way, but if it ends up being the same where it's very tight, it's very competitive between the Gems, Lumber Kings, Bees, and Corn Belters, then we can definitely expect the Corn Belters are going to have to make every game count.
I have a team I'd like to talk about, and they're more of a team to be wary of, and that would be the Cape Catfish. They have just had organizational excellence as of late. In 2021, they defeated the Lafayette Aviators 2-1. And the season before that, not 2020 as the season was canceled due to COVID, but during 2019 they also made the finals. They lost to the Paints 2-1 there. But they've made 2 finals appearances in the last 2 seasons. They've got a championship pedigree. and they are in our Eastern Division, and I think they're going to be somebody we're looking to take out right away.
Now, as this league sort of has come together, a big thing about these teams is just the only real stability that they have are those coaching staffs and are those like managers that really help to mold these players as they come in. So each and every season, the beautiful thing about this league is there will always be parity. It's never going to be exactly the same team. So it is anybody's opportunity to take those championships coming in every single season, and I think that's what's really, really beautiful about this.
I would actually like to dive into that for a moment.
Yeah,
the player
please.
on our roster, Will Oberg, has actually been around our organization for a bit. During the first season of the KCL, Will Oberg was on the KCL Corn Belters, not the same as the Corn Belters that play in the Prospect League, and he won the first ever KCL championship throughout the lineup. So we've known Will Oberg for a bit here at the Corn Crib.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Excited to see what he can do this year.
I'm excited to see as well. Taking a look now, I would just sort of wanted to move towards our home schedule to see what really like long stretches of games we're going to have the team here for. And at the Corn Crib is going to be packed from like July 20th all the way up until August 6th at the end of the season. So I think that something that we could definitely see is maybe this team starts to trail off a little bit in the first half of the season as they're on the road a lot. And all those road games, it's tough to play in a stadium where everyone is against you. And especially where a team like Normal, they have so many loyal fans who come out to the theme nights and they come out and support the guys. I just wonder personally how much it affects the players from like that standpoint where you're on the road, you know, you're dealing with fatigue, and then you have to travel all the way back for another game maybe the next day.
Well, I would say I would say it's even a different effect than like say people that are used to, you know, MLB games, stuff like that. Home team advantage is still very important. You're going to have to be able to, if you can have a stadium full of fans that you can pack every time and get them into the game, if you can give them a good experience so that they're having fun and being loud, that gives an advantage to the home team and certainly a disadvantage to the away team. But this isn't Cardinals Cubs we're talking about when it comes to, this league. Especially, this is going to be, it's not like anyone's going at each other's throats or anything like that. I don't expect very many fights or anything like that. Most people that come to a normal Corn Belts, I'm hoping. Most people that come to a Corn Belters games don't really know very much about the teams that they're going to be facing. They just know that they want to be able to see their home team win because that's what they came to do. They came to see a good baseball game, and hopefully at the end of the day, the team that comes from Normal beats, the team from Clinton or Quincy or anything like that. But, it's going to be still a very big part of the game. It's just not going to be exactly the same as Major League fans would be accustomed to, should that be what they're thinking about.
Absolutely.
And I think something with the Corn Crib is we have a lot of parents come out. We have a lot of parents, siblings come out to support, the homegrown guys. You go see them play, cheer for them, and that already creates an atmosphere of family. There's a lot of family at the Corn Crib. We have a lot of kids come out. We play games in the field with the kids. And so there's just this atmosphere that is light and fun, and hopefully one that the Corn Belters can revel in and just be better than they are away because they're in their home field and they just feel good about being in a place that they love and know that fans love to come to, especially with some of our theme nights. I know Epcorn is in late July,
I'm
right
excited
around
about
the homestand, where we have a bunch of different mom and pop breweries coming in from all around the Midwest. And it is just going to be a wonderful time. And so having the players know they can rely on the Corn Crib is something that hopefully they can take advantage of in the late half of the season.
Definitely. Those theme nights are going to be awesome. I just keep on looking at the schedule every single day, and I see something new that excites me personally as somebody who's going to be working them. One of the matchups that I've really been keeping my eye on in regards to home games is our opener is against the Burlington Bees, and we won't see them again at home until July 28th. So I feel like that's going to be one of those games that we really can gauge sort of how this team has gotten better along the season. Sort of having a sample size to start off with them at first when they have no chemistry together. They don't really know what their competition is going to look like compared to almost 2 months later in the season where they've had time to get settled in. They've gotten time to get better, develop, work with their managers and their coaches. And I feel like that's going to be one of those things that really points to how much better did these guys get over the course of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be so fun to watch this Corn Belters team just go out there and play some baseball and develop their own skills that they can take back to their colleges.
So now that we've discussed really how this team is going to do over the course of their home games, I'd love to go into depth about a little bit of a different segment here that maybe the viewers or listeners weren't really expecting. We came up with some team superlatives just by looking at some of the rosters, looking at some of the pictures. So Megan, I'm going to toss it to you first for what you came up with. And I'm very excited for you to talk about your player.
All right, so my first one is, who is the most talkative player in the dugout? You see a lot of baseball guys chatting with each other, in between innings while like their friends are up to bat. And my answer to this question is my own fellow Bradley student, Jackson Chatterton.
I absolutely love that one.
Love the puns. It's great.
Thank you. Give that one a moment to, sink in for everyone. And my second one is also pun-based. Who is the nicest player on the team?
Ooh.
I have no idea.
She told me about this one a little bit earlier, and so I'm like,
He's
You don't
preparing.
want to spoil it.
No, I don't want to spoil it, so I'm just gonna bite my lip back here, bide my time, you
Yeah.
know.
The answer is Zachary Goodman.
Oh.
Because he's
I like that.
Bravo,
Thank you.
bravo,
Yeah.
Thank
bravo.
you. He's a good man.
All right, so for my superlatives, mine are incredibly obscure, but you're just going to have to bear with me on these at first. So, the most likely to have a superhero spinoff made based on their last name. Now, unless you have the roster in front of you, I don't think you would ever guess this. It's a bit of a stretch, but we're going to go with Kyle Bartman. Na 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 Bartman. Bartman. Na 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 na. I thought that would be great. I just saw the Batman the other day. Awesome movie for those of you who haven't seen it. This isn't a plug. I just love Batman. That's all. All right. My next one that I came up with was the most likely to be in the Navy. And if you are the parents of this particular player and you don't know it already, the most likely to be in the Navy is going to be Nolan Sailors. That is an excellent last name. I've never heard that before. And the last one that I came up with was most likely to need a walker as he rounds the bases. I gave this one to our oldest player, and we actually mentioned him just a little bit ago, so look at you go, Matt. The most likely to need a walker as he rounds the bases is Will Oberg, as he is the only senior that we actually have on the roster this year.
Yeah, and for me, I'm really excited for my superlatives. I sat here and I was trying to come up with them, and I was just thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to come up with these superlatives? I have no idea about these players or anything as far as, something like this. But I kind of got myself rolling, and now I got 5 of them. So you talked about Nolan Sailors. I've got one as well. He is most likely, he stands at 5'11", so he is most likely to claim they are 6 foot at a party.
That's
a good one.
That's really good.
That's a good
Yeah.
one.
I got a few that are just based on looks. I got Ben Higgins as most likely to unironically listen to Imagine Dragons.
And that's an interesting one. That is a very interesting superlative. I'm not sure I ever would have guessed that.
Make of that what you will. It depends on whether you like Imagine Dragons or not.
Listen, if you're Higgins and you're watching this, don't worry. I too, unironically, listen to Imagine Dragons.
And I've got Kane Hedrick, another one based off looks, most likely to be the one making repairs at my apartment.
Does he happen to look like
He
one of
just
your?
looks like someone that would be. He looks like a carpenter. He looks like like a handyman.
Does he really?
Yeah, and Bo DeBink was most likely to secretly be a former Disney movie actor.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
Clayton Johnson, the farmer, is most likely to break in the corn crib and harvest the outfield corn.
That one is. That's an awesome one.
Points for the corn crib corn reference. I did love that.
Corny better be on the lookout when Clayton
Yes.
Johnson is on the mound because he is coming for you. All right, last but not least, time for a little bit of important information on how you can watch your normal Corn Belters all season long. You can buy your tickets at the Corn Crib, at the box office, or online, which is $8, and you get theme nights. I think it's a pretty great deal, guys. You can watch the Corn Belters starting June 4th, where they have their home opener again against the Burlington Bees. Subscribe to PLTV to stream all games online. And guys, our theme nights are looking stacked this year.
All right, I'm excited to talk about the Corn Crib theme nights. So this Friday is Awful Night, June 3rd. And Awful Night, I think, is going to be so funny. So I've been working on music for it. We're going to hear some Thomas the Tank Engine, Panic at the Disco smash-ups. Nicki Minaj sings Starships, but it's Paco Bell's Canon in D. I mean, like, genuinely, some of the worst music you can think of.
Speaking of worst music, little thing to mention. During the 5th inning of Awful Night, we will be having the Coldplay inning.
Coldplay
where
inning.
Everybody's walk-up song is Coldplay. The songs throughout
What?
the stadium are Coldplay.
It's all Coldplay.
It's all Coldplay.
Also, we haven't decided on the song yet. We're thinking either High Hopes by Panic at the Disco or Dance Monkey by the Tones and I. And every single person for that inning gets that walk-up song.
I'm going Dance Monkey.
They all get Dance Monkey just for that walk-up, for that inning.
And also, if you buy tickets to the Awful Night, all proceeds go to our, you also get entered into our 100-0 raffle, where 100% of the proceeds go to the Corn Belters, and none of the proceeds go to you.
Oh my, that's awesome. But I mean, just keep going down the list here. Opening night for the Corn Belters, we got Toy Story night. We've got Nickelodeon night on June 11th, Jurassic Park in the Park on June 18th, and it keeps going till August 11th. Actually, we have quite a few theme nights coming out, which should be awesome.
We have a lot of theme nights, and as we talked about the park being very kid-friendly,
Yeah.
we do giveaways and we do jersey raffles and all of these things just to get the kids to come out. It's a very nice atmosphere for kids to just come out, hang out, and have a good time. Oh, and there's Corny's Kids Club presented by INB. You can open a youth savings account in the INB branch on Washington Street. Or just come to the Corn Crib and ask how you can sign your kid up for Corny's Kids Club. You get a lot of exclusive perks like bobbleheads, coin banks, and just so many fun things for your kid.
To talk about how the stadium's adult friendly, on every single theme night they do different drink specials.
Yep.
While I can't say that I have a personal favorite, I hear the Tipsy Cornosaurus is very good.
And what is in a Tipsy Cornosaurus?
It is Mountain Dew, Kool-Aid powder, and vodka.
Now, who thought of that?
You know, it's $2 for those.
And also, Thirsty Thursdays drinks, I believe, are half off.
Yep.
Speaking of being thirsty, I really can't wait for Margaritaville night. That's one of my favorite theme nights. That will certainly be one where a lot of people are getting into the Tipsy Cornosauruses. Just make sure you
Yeah.
bring your own driver.
I also feel it's important to note that located over near the drink station is a screen printing hub where you can purchase custom shirts based on the theme night. For example, for Bigfoot night, they had a Bigfoot themed Corn Belters t-shirt that you could get. I believe that they were $20 a shirt.
Yep,
So.
I believe shirts are 20, long sleeve shirts 25, and hoodies 30. So
That's
free to go
that's
check
such
that
a
out.
good deal. You know,
Right.
Beside the point of everything we've been talking about, don't you think that like sweatshirts are like $80
Right.
now? Like who decided
Yeah.
that?
Ridiculous.
Or, like-
$30 for a
Ridiculous.
sweatshirt's such a good deal.
right, like we're all college students or were at some point. You go to your bookstore, and sweatshirts are like $60.
Oh my god, you can't get anything good price. at a
No,
bookstore.
but
Don't
you
go to
come to the
bookstore.
Corn Crib and you have professionals making these amazing shirts you will never see again for $20 to $30.
You will
Boom.
definitely never see Bigfoot again.
Bigfoot and Corny.
Yeah.
Just Corn Belters Bigfoot. That's a once in a lifetime deal, really.
We might have to break it out one more time if we're making a run in the playoffs.
That's true.
Maybe just one more time.
One more time.
All right, well, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning into the first episode of Corn on the Call. And then thank you so much for joining us, Matt. It was awesome having you as a
Yeah.
guest. I hope to have you back on at least one more time this
Yeah,
season.
I'm happy to be here. Maybe a mid-season Matt Bowerman special
That'd
or
be-
end of season, something of the sort, where we can get an update on how the players are performing. And thank you guys for having me.
Of course, and catch us next week Tuesday for our next episode featuring new special guests as well, and that will be of the coaching staff of the Corn Belters. We'll be going over the first weekend of play for the Belters and breakdowns on their performance.
We have been your hosts, Blake Bogart, Braden Fogerson, and Megan Ruger-Smith, coming to you from Blono Pizza Co. Blono Pizza Co. is very graciously hosting our podcast this season. They've given us this wonderful room for us to have a space where we can do a podcast, where we can break things down,
Play NBA Jam.
play NBA Jam. This is their NBA Jam room. It is actually very cool. I have never seen anything like this in a pizza parlor before. I love it. It's very cool. So thank you so much to Blono for your hospitality and wonderful food.
And we actually encourage fans of the Normal Corn Belters to come out. We record every Tuesday starting at 12 p.m. And if you want to come out and talk a little bit about the Normal Corn Belters, we're more than happy to have you on.
And there's a lot of room in here, so if you just are wondering what it's like to host a podcast, what it's like to be behind the scenes of media such as this, feel free to come in, hang out in the NBA Jam room, order some awesome food and drinks.
Well, with that being said,
All right.
Catch us
Catch us
next week on Corn on the Call. that was pretty good.